Hi, and welcome to Blackboard Rants. I'm not Tyler.
No, you're not. Definitely not. A little bit shorter. I'm John. This is Kyle. He'll be guest hosting today. We got some topics for you. First off, we're going to start off with we got our hot shot, and we're trying Tabasco this time. It's a little bit more expensive than we wanted to do because you get this little bottle and it only does the 2 shots.
It's like they designed it for you to put it on food instead of drink it or something.
Yeah, it's
Something
it's
wrong
crazy.
with them.
So
The old standard, what everyone thinks of when they think of hot sauce, I think,
Yeah,
is Tabasco.
and this is your first time doing a shot.
Yes, it is.
Because normal people don't do it.
I don't even do it with normal things that normal people drink shots of. So,
Well, this stays down better than whiskey for me these days, but
I'd almost rather have whiskey.
well, you take the smell, you gotta smell the aroma. Nice and vinegar.
That's a lot of vinegar.
Vinegar.
All right.
You got the water there if you need it, man.
Prost.
Let's throw you. Ooh, that vinegar shoots right up your nose.
Yeah. Kind of. For some reason, it reminds me of being in a basement. Kind of a musty.
Yeah, there was a little bit different flavor there.
It is fermented.
But you don't taste that when it's on the food.
Mm-mm.
It goes away, but yeah.
A little bit if you put a lot on your eggs or something that doesn't really have a flavor of its own. But,
Yeah, I never noticed
Not
that
what I
flavor in
expected.
there before.
yeah. Whew.
Good old Tabasco.
Make your pizza supreme. Dress up your dressing. And crack open the flavor.
I put some hot sauce on pizza sometimes, but it's usually my old favorite that we did last week, Valentina's.
More of a crushed red pepper on my pizza kind of person.
Oh, and they got these
So
new,
much that it's like just crushed red pepper.
They got these new Peruvian peppers at Pizza Hut. They're really good and really sweet. Oh, I put those on my pizza the last couple times. So good. They're not hot, but they're nice and sweet. So we got a topic now?
All right, first topic that we've got on the board today is top 3 film scores. So, this one was a bit more my topic.
Yeah, this
more
is
of the,
this is your field. You actually listen to scores all by themselves. I'm not that kind of guy. Can we go like soundtrack too, or are you thinking just scores?
if as long as it's not music inspired by, where it's an entire album of like the Faculty soundtrack album, that doesn't count because half of
I
that
was thinking
wasn't
maybe
in the
Batman
movie.
Forever. That was a, but that
Well, at least Seal got played during the credits,
yeah.
so there was one of them, but.
Okay, so I'm gonna. You know a lot more than me, so I'm gonna steal some of the obvious ones.
As long as you don't steal my most obvious one,
Well,
we're cool.
I'm going Star Wars.
All right.
John Williams score, great, perfection, go out through the ages. Oh, I think I know which other. Okay. So
There's one you can't pick. You
There's-
should know what it is.
there's the Star Wars scores. It's just classic. Nobody's ever going to be able to replicate how that. It just works so well with the material. Second, I'm going to have to go just for the sheer fact that the director did it all himself. He always does. I'm going to have to go with the John Carpenter score, and I think the best one is They Live. I think that's the best one out of his. I mean, there's more iconic stuff in, say, Halloween. But
Definitely more memorable for the general populace. Me personally, Escape from New York is
Yeah.
very.
But I think I'm going to go with They Live just because it makes that movie fresh and alive the way that score goes with it.
Makes it live.
Makes it live, yeah. Third, I will have to say, I guess I'm going to have to go with the movie that inspired me the most to go into film, which is The Rocketeer. Because when you hear that score come up, when he's got the gun up against the flag, and he's going after the Nazis, that's just killer right there. I'm not too good at describing music, so I'll just stop right there and you can go into it.
Well, as far as The Rocketeer is concerned, I think I'll go reverse order. I don't know if yours was in an order or if it was just these are three that are good and I'm not sure which.
I would be in an order.
Well, I think my number 3 is the same composer as The Rocketeer. I believe that was James Horner.
I think so.
So my number 3 would have to be Star Trek II. The entire score for that movie had a little bit of the original Star Trek music, the Jerry Goldsmith score from the motion picture.
It gets that chase music too when they're in the dun, 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 right?
Yeah, there's all the music from the battle and everything.
Yeah.
You can listen to the score and just know what's going on in the film, especially for the space battles.
Yeah, when they're in the
without all that music. Without all the music.
2 is Khan. For those of you, we're getting a little bit wrapped
the first time that they had
Yeah.
Khan in a Star Trek movie.
The Wrath of Khan. Khan!
Yeah, so that's number 3 on my list. Number 2, I don't know. I feel kind of bad going with the same composer twice, but you know what? I'll pick something else.
Okay.
I will go with The Godfather.
Godfather.
Kind of out of left field. Not what you were expecting, I'm sure, for my
not.
for my number 2 pick. I really like the music, though. Something about it.
I've never finished that movie. I fall asleep.
Such a good movie. The first 2, great movies. The third one, that never happened. But, you know.
I've never finished The Hunt for Red October either.
Yeah. Well, I've seen the end.
Yeah.
Because it's on TBS all the time.
But I haven't watched the whole movie as one sitting down and watching it. I just can't make it through it. And that might come up a little bit later in the show, too. A movie that I've never sat all the way through.
So then, my number 1 pick for top film score for me has to be Conan the Barbarian. Hands down. I can't even
And who is that?
describe it. I'm not even sure how to pronounce the man's name. He did pass away a few years ago, which makes me concerned that they won't be able to match the music for the upcoming Conan film, whenever that hopefully happens. Basil Polidaris?
Polidaris?
Something along those lines.
Basil, not Rathbone.
Yeah. I had a thought, and it
ran away. It ran away.
Yeah.
And Conan's swinging at
I
it.
set it free, just like at the beginning of Conan, when Conan gets set free. So that one, that definitely sticks with me. Oh, the thought that I had was they actually talk about it a little bit in the documentary that you mentioned last week or the week before.
Milius?
In Milius, because John Milius directed Conan the Barbarian, and he had a stroke. Probably,
I think it was
nearly 10 years ago by now.
Was it that late? I thought it was
Maybe.
the mid 2000s, but
I don't know. It's been a while now though. But they talked to his family about it and things like that, and they talked to his son. And the first time that they had him, that he responded to anything after he had his stroke, his son was bringing in music for him, and he played the music from Conan the Barbarian, and his dad woke up. And
he was
responded.
in a semi-coma. And
yeah.
He woke up when he heard the music.
Yeah. So that music has always stuck with me.
Alrighty, off of music and on to 80s action movies.
Yep.
So, how about you go first this time?
Oh God, make me go first.
Yep.
I have to.
You're the guest.
All
Be
right.
nice to the guest.
So, in no particular order, I do believe we discussed whether you or I would get this one. I'm gonna take it.
You're taking it.
Predator. I know that was a backhanded, sneaky thing to do.
Yeah.
But
you're
it's John McTiernan. Yeah. And it's action, and there's Jesse Ventura with the ridiculous huge gun. I mean, even without
Make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaur.
Even without the Predator itself, which is the most awesome alien being to ever be on film. Even without that, that would be one of the greatest action movies. The whole beginning segment when they go into the jungle and they infiltrate the camp and all of that, there's nothing to do with the Predator other than they run into some bodies that were skinned.
Yeah, and you see from the Predator's perspective.
And the whole time, like that in itself is a great action movie.
Yeah, and if you just had, like, them in the woods and Jesse Ventura go nuts and start fighting them all, that would have been, like, a great...
That would have been a good action movie, too.
If it was, like, you could see it from the other... And the Predator never existed, and Jesse Ventura went nuts and was fighting against them all, that would have been cool. Or it could have been Carl Weathers, because he was kind of wasted in that movie. So, okay, what's your next one?
Oh, next one. I didn't think this through very well. I feel like I'm just going to keep naming off Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Okay, well then I will jump in here.
And let's switch off. Let's go one at a time. How about that instead of three in a row?
Okay, so I'm gonna have to go with my number one. It was, I talked about this a couple weeks ago too, that it was my costume in kindergarten. It's RoboCop shooting people's dicks off. You can watch that movie anytime, and just what it has to say about the world still holds up, even 30 years ago to today. I mean, and Detroit is even probably worse than it was then. And
we need New Delta City. Yeah, that's what we need.
We still have a lot of the social issues. I mean, even okay, we're not so much worried about the nuclear war stuff, but you can replace that with, terrorists dropping on your board game.
Global warming or any number of different issues that are just as divisive.
Yeah, and RoboCop just looks badass. And then one of the things that ruined the new one for me is, in the old one, how he moves slowly, but he was going to get you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in the horror movies when they have the guy's just walking with the knife. He's still going to get you. RoboCop, no matter where you go, he's still going to come after you.
Reach through the wall and pull you through. Yeah.
So, are you ready, or should I keep ranting about RoboCop? No, okay. Because otherwise I was ready to go with talking
all
about...
right, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. And the humanity you see lost in him when he has to take off his helmet. And you see his face is just stretched over this machine. And it's like all that's left of man.
Yeah, with just the blank stare. No expression.
Yeah, except for his face and his mind. That's it that's left. And him coming to terms with that, I mean, that's such a powerful thing. And then, you got the Jesus metaphors in there, too, with the walking on water and all that, but whatever. Paul Verhoeven's the shit. So, okay, you ready now?
Which brings me to my next one.
Okay.
Which also includes, as I said, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Total Recall.
Paul Verhoeven.
Which, again, John had the story of me being terrified of Eddie Murphy living in the basement because I couldn't tell Freddy Krueger from Eddie Murphy when I was a child. Total Recall scared the hell out of me.
Open your mind. Oh, it wasn't the movie. It was just that part.
Yep, just that one. The rest of the movie I loved. And I was totally ready to watch it again and again, and it's just so out there with everything that's going on. And, 10 years before The Matrix tried to screw with your head on whether or not it's reality, he's sitting there trying to decide whether this is some manufactured memory that he had gone and asked for, or whether he really is this guy.
Yeah, this amount of years later, you can still debate whether or not it was reality or the implant.
Yeah,
you can still go either way.
Yeah,
Is that all you have to say?
I feel like there was more, but
okay, let me see.
To think of it.
I'm gonna have to go with. Well, since we didn't include these in sports movies, erroneously, I'm sorry. Maybe if it's an action, can we do Rocky? Is that action? There's lots of fighting.
I think so. It's probably a little bit more drama than...
But not Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is not drama, and that's the one I'm picking. Rocky 4.
Rocky 4 is propaganda.
Happy birthday, Polly. Happy birthday, Polly. If I could change, and you could change, we all could change.
Bad theater goer. Did not silence my phone. Sorry about that.
And the montage. The best. All the Rocky movies are known for the montage. And that's the best training montage there is. He's pulling the wagon through the snow. He helps some people with their car and people with their tipped over wagon. And he's just out there doing all this goodwill. And then you see the juxtaposition of the futuristic Soviets with their steroids and their treadmills. No, we're doing it the good old American way in a barn.
We don't need a treadmill.
With a beard.
That is true.
You can't beat Rocky 4. And like I said, that one's definitely not a drama. So I'm counting it as action. Because I didn't count it as a sports movie when we talk sports movies.
So you've got one left and I've got one left. Is that where we're at? So I'm going to go the less traditional action movie route, and I'm going to hope that you take the other ones that I probably should mention. But 80s action movie for me, talked about it before in our music segment, Escape from New York. I love Escape from New York. The one guy having to go in to the entire fortified prison where everybody's nuts and wants to kill you, to try and rescue somebody that he doesn't care about at all and get him out.
Actually hates pretty much.
Yeah.
Because he's going after the president, and he's run away from the military. And
yeah, like former war hero who is now a criminal. Like the first action movie anti-hero.
Depends on whether or not you count westerns as action movies or...
Yeah. They're their own genre, which is...
And that's, again, John Carpenter. Bringing up these same guys over and over. All right, my number 3. There's so many different ways I could go on this. But I think I'm going to have to go Riggs and Murtaugh. Lethal Weapon. Not just because it's a great movie in itself, but also because of what it brought us. One of my favorite lines out of any movie to just yell out for no reason comes from the second one. Diplomatic immunity! You can just yell it out any time. It works.
It's just been revoked.
Yeah. And, in the first one, that's one of the first movies I remember seeing. And that's the first time a buddy cop movie really worked seriously. I mean, they'd done it before with the 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop, right? I think those came before.
I don't know. They're pretty close.
But this one, it was more serious and more action-oriented than any of the other stuff that I remember coming before it.
You always know it's serious when there's some saxophone going on.
Oh, yeah. And Mel Gibson's ass.
Who doesn't want Mel Gibson's ass?
It's a serious movie when you see Mel Gibson's ass. That's how you know it's highfalutin and sophisticated. So, I would have to say that that's it. I mean, there were some other ones I wanted to throw in. You got honorable mentions, Terminator. And then you got The Running Man.
You've also got 3 of the 4 Rambo films.
Yeah.
Including
But see, the first one, First Blood
First one's
was...
a Christmas movie. I'll give you that.
Well, First Blood was 79, wasn't it?
No, it was 1980.
Oh. Oh, otherwise I would have grabbed it. I thought it was 79.
No.
Okay, let's move on.
Next segment, Best Western Film.
All right. You want to talk about your...
Yeah.
Because, like I said, this is what I have never sat through the whole thing. I'm sorry. I mean,
sat
it's
through
great.
it several times. It's a great film.
It's great to look at, but I just couldn't...
It's a very long story, and it has a lot of different characters and plots. And it is Once Upon a Time in the West.
Sergio Leone finally getting a budget.
Yep. Big Hollywood budget, still mostly filmed in Spain.
Yeah, but it looks a lot better than his previous work.
Except for Monument Valley, which you can't really film anywhere other than the United States. It's got great music, as always, with Ennio Morricone. Just like all the other spaghetti westerns that Sergio had done. And it's so beautifully shot, and there's every scene, some of them can feel long and drawn out, but everything that's happening is happening for a reason, progressing toward a certain point. And it's just great. I don't know.
Who stars in that one?
Charles Bronson. I can't think of his name now. I'm drawing a blank.
Is it
Henry Fonda is also in it. Jason Robards, is that who I'm thinking of?
He's a person. Okay, well, let's move on then. My favorite, I was talking to you before, I was going between two different movies. Excuse me. And I think I settled. It's got to be Silverado. Not just because the movie's great, but the fact that it's Lawrence Kasdan and his brother wanted to make a Western. And Lawrence Kasdan had done the Star Wars movies and written them, and, well,
Empire
Strikes Back. And then he got story credit, I believe, with Jedi. And then he did Raiders of the Lost Ark. And he directed, I think, before Silverado was The Big Chill. It was, I don't know, but that was a critically acclaimed movie. And him and his brother just wanted to make a Western. And because that's what they'd watch when they were kids. And they got together, they wrote a script. And it's wonderful. I mean, it opens with some of the best stuff, you know. You've got a character being shot at inside a building, and then it opens up and he's in the middle of nowhere. And you're like, whoa.
Beautiful expanse out in front of him.
And then how you meet Payton, where he's buried out in the desert.
Just laying there.
And then you get
burning in the sun.
You get his relationship with his horse and his hat.
Where's the dog, Peyton?
Yeah, and then with Jeff Fahey's character, and Brian Dennehy is always awesome. He's
always an evil sheriff.
Yeah, he's in First Blood that I would have taken if I would have known it was 80 instead of 79. And then you've got a young Kevin Costner in it, and you have
doing his own stunts too. All the running and jumping out of the horse and all that kind of stuff was all.
And this is another one too that has a great score.
Yes, and it's
they
music that they
it.
use for lots of different. The marching bands use it all the time. There's before one of my kids' Disney movies, there's a preview for Toy Story before they had the score done. It's a retooling of the music from Silverado. Yeah,
and it's just got great themes in it about friendship and brotherhood, and it's also got from Lethal Weapon, Danny Glover in there as well, thrown in the mix, and John Cleese thrown in the mix, and Scott Glenn thrown in the mix, and Kevin Kline, he's Peyton, and you got all these great actors in there in a wonderfully shot movie, a great story, and you get to see Wilson's face. He's not hiding behind a fence. Wilson from Home Improvement. He's one of the characters, and you get to actually see his face.
He does. Does show his face for about 5 minutes in the movie.
Yeah. Before he gets burned.
No,
right?
No, he gets out of the house.
Oh, he gets out of the house?
Yeah, they get out of the house.
Okay.
All right, and our final topic for the day is...
Mark Hamill is returning to play the Trickster on The Flash. And in case you didn't know, he played the Trickster on the 90s Flash series. I already talked about how John Wesley Shipp, who played Flash on that series, plays the Flash's dad. And the actress who played the Flash's mentor on that show, she's also
the lady
appeared.
From Star Labs.
Yeah. I can't remember her name right now or her character's name, but so that's 3 people so far. But this time, Mark Hamill is returning as the character he played, which is a Joker-like character. So, my question for you is, what do you think about that kind of fan service? Is it good or bad?
It's good as long as they use it as an opportunity to really use the character rather than to use references to, hey, I did this before. When you get to that point where the only payoff is the fact that you see that it's this person, it's pretty pointless.
So you didn't like the cameos in the Incredible Hulk movies of Lou Ferrigno?
Now you're getting me. Because him as a security guard, it got a chuckle, I guess, that he was there and they gave him a line and stuff. I do like the fact that he is the voice of the Incredible Hulk.
Well, he's mixed in there. I think it's a mixture of the two.
Well, he's credited as the voice. Yeah. But I think that's cool that they still do that with him. Because growing up, he was the Incredible Hulk. There was no question. It was never Eric Bana.
Put it in my hand, boy.
Best episode ever. Season 2, Episode 5, A Child in Need. Go on Netflix and watch it.
And just to finish up, another thing you can watch, if you can find it, is the new Daredevil series is going to be premiering, coming in the beginning of April on Netflix. And so to prepare for that, I watched The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, which features Daredevil.
Yes, being the lawyer for...
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk.
For David Banner.
Yeah, David Bruce Banner. Because Bruce was deemed too gay. So they named
Is that why they changed
Yes.
it? I thought that it was just something where they didn't want to deal with the storylines in the comics or something.
According
like
to Crack.com, it's because it was too gay of a name and the producer didn't like it.
Okay, make sure to get that disclaimer in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like referencing The Onion as your news source.
I'm citing my sources. Okay, so...
Responsible journalism.
Responsible journalism. I believe that's all we have to talk about this week. So join me next week when maybe somebody else will be in that chair. Bye-bye.
I feel like we're stealing that from Hal.